Hello and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my friend Donna with us from Check and Balance Business Solutions. Good morning, Donna. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Donna, how many times do you hear I hate accounting? I
Oh,
hear it like every day.
yes, every day, several times a day, I would say. Absolutely. It's not everybody's favorite,
We
just like my favorite is not managing social media.
what happens, Donna, is we put it off because we don't want to deal with it.
Mhm.
And then it's overwhelming. Like, oof, haven't done my books in 3 months.
Mm.
Time to start. So now we
Yeah.
take it into 6 months, and then I
Mhm.
just leave it. And
Yeah.
you can't do that, right?
No, you can't and you shouldn't. I do see it far more often than I would like to see it. It's important to keep that stuff up to date because how can you make any real decision in your business if you don't know how your business is actually doing financially? You know, it's huge to stay on top of those things. And I always recommend to people, even if it's just a half an hour every Friday, do something in your books. Make
Yep.
sure your invoicing is up to date. Make sure your expenses are all recorded, and then even more importantly, every month, reconcile your bank and your credit card accounts so you know that you have accurate information in your books.
So I like what you just said about invoicing.
Mm,
This one makes me chuckle. I have
yeah.
some friends, when they do a job, I had one guy, he had a back in the day, he had a printer on his truck. He would print out
Mm,
the invoice and hand it to you and go, I want my money.
yeah.
I was like, that's impressive, dude. But some people, they wait until the weekend. Oh, hey, I bill once a month. I'm like, Donna, you did that job on the first of the month. You just gave someone a free 30-day loan, and they're going to take 30 or 60 days to pay you.
Right.
So invoicing quickly, obviously, is important.
Yes, absolutely important because that affects your cash flow, right? I mean, if you don't have the money coming in, how are you going to pay for all the things that you need to pay for, whether it's your employees, yourself, which is important to pay for,
Yes.
and your other expenses. So getting that invoicing done timely is huge. And that's why I recommend, if you can't do it that day that you finish, set aside half an hour on Friday. Friday is typically, in most businesses, the quietest day of the week. So
Yes.
why not take a half an hour or an hour out of that Friday and get all of your invoicing done? And then if you get that stuff done and you have time left over, get some other things done that relate to your financial records, because at least then you're doing things and chipping away at that, right? And if you're getting the invoicing done, then you're going to collect it a lot quicker and be able to have that cash available to you for purchases that you may need to make, whether planned or unplanned.
That's the hard part is the unplanned. People forget about that. I always tell
Right.
a story. I started my business in October. Christmas morning, I dropped and broke my cell phone.
Mm.
It was only $400, but it was month two. That was a lot of money to me. I was able to fix that. It's a different story. I'll tell you a different time and stuff. But again, I was sad. My wife's like, dude, you gonna wreck Christmas over this? Yep, yep, because I'm sad.
Right.
So we have to plan for that, and that's where it's important to make sure our revenue is coming in. Making sure we're actually collecting it. You can bill it. That doesn't really do anything.
Right.
Nice to see this big revenue number, but if it's not getting into the bank, it's not
Right.
doing anything, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's another step in the process of making sure that you're on top of your financials is incorporating that AR review. So reviewing your receivables, what invoices are still out there, sending those collection emails, and oftentimes it's just a reminder that somebody needs, they may have gotten the invoice initially and just totally spaced getting it paid or what have you. There are some great features inside of most accounting softwares that it'll send a reminder on your behalf automatically. So you invoice it, and then if it's coming to the due date, it will send another reminder. If it goes past the due date, it'll send another reminder, and it'll keep bugging that person for you until the money is collected. Sometimes that doesn't work, and you actually have to pick up the phone. But if you're setting aside that half an hour to an hour every week to work on your books, and you're getting all of your things done, and you're noticing that that's happening, that's perfect time. Pick up the phone or send an email that's directly from you instead of your accounting software that says, "Hey, this is still out there. What's going on?"
So one of the things I find by staying up to date in my books, and let's be honest, my wife does it for me, but I'm still staying up to date regardless.
Yeah.
It holds me accountable. So
Hmm.
at the end of the month, when we sit down and we look at revenue, expenses, membership, I can look at it and say, okay, am I happy with what I did?
Yeah.
And if I'm not, well, why am I not happy? And
Right.
sometimes it's just, hey, you didn't have enough outreach this month, or hey, that was the unexpected expense. So at least you know
Mhm.
why it's off and stuff.
Right.
But when I don't pay attention to it, it's easy to, 3 months from now going, wow, man, the revenue is really suffering because I didn't stay on top of it. So it
Mhm.
gives you that, reflection point to say, hey, are you happy? If not, what do you need to do to change? If you stay up to date, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely helps you see all different aspects of your business and what's being affected by what else, right? So reviewing those financial reports every single month is huge. Not just your balance sheet and your profit and loss, but you also want to look at your cash flow statements, and you also want to look at your budget for the year. And are you hitting your targets or not? Are you overspending? Are you underspending? Which is, underspending is good, always, because then you can roll it to the next month. But and that would help then for those unexpected situations that you have. If you have a surplus in the prior month and you're carrying it over and you're tucking that away in your business savings account, then those unexpected things aren't quite as big of a hit. If you're able to control those budgets and control that spending, but then more importantly, collecting the money, right? So you have to make sure that you're doing that, and you need to make sure that you're staying on top of all the things that you need to do to generate that revenue to hit those goals every month, whatever those goals may be. And obviously, every business is different, ebbs and flows, so not everybody's steady. But if you know your business and you know your ebbs and flows, and you can plan out your year and create a budget for yourself as to what your targets should be, it helps you align with those goals by reviewing everything every month and saying, okay, how was my January? It was kind of lacking. That means I need to pick things up in February and March so I can hit my Q1 target or whatever it may be.
Yep. All right. So it's a nice lead in. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I like having a bookkeeper because you mentioned accounting software, and there's lots of programs out there. We won't go into that.
Right.
And you put all the fancy numbers in and you hit the reports, but you don't know what they mean.
Mm-hmm.
Is this good? Like I said,
Right.
hey, I'm not catching those trends. Or hey, I noticed your receivables are creeping up. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where having someone like you there, you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of translate that for us and teach us to see patterns and not just, hey, look, I hit the income statement. It didn't need the red ink on the bottom, so woohoo.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we may not catch that trend, like, hey, this expense is going up quicker than it should. That's
Mm-hmm.
where you come in to translate the numbers to us, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. In our business, education is at the core of everything that we do. We want our business owners and clients to know exactly how their business is doing, and if they get a report from us, they know how to read it. We do a lot of education with understanding the financial statements, the differences between your balance sheet and your profit and loss, and why your owner's draw is not an expense to the business and hits the balance sheet and things like that. But then also creating those budgets and then doing the comparison of budget versus actuals, helping you understand, okay, this is what happened. This is how we can fix it in terms of numbers. Let's move this target to here and here. And okay, how many, widgets does that mean that you have to sell, or services that you need to sell, or whatever it is, right? Depending on your industry. And so we do work very closely with our clients and meet with them either one-on-one, or sometimes it's just by email because they're asking questions. It all depends on where the client is at. Some people understand financial statements and have questions, so they email, and others meet with me one-to-one and pick my CFO brain and how do I strategize and make this better or improve, or what am I even looking at? So
You're doing really great leading me in the questions. So chuckle. But that's my next question though, is I get people who get to a level like, hey, I'm busy. Maybe they're a tradesperson. It's time to hire someone. It's time for the second truck, if you will. And
mhm,
they're like, I hope I'm understanding the numbers right. That's
right.
what they need you to say, okay, if we're going to go bring on this person and we're going to have all this extra expense,
Mhm,
this is what we need for revenue to make this make
mhm.
sense, right? That's what
Exactly. And yeah.
stop them from doing something silly.
Yes, exactly. And there's always a ramp up process with those types of things, right? It's not like you can wake up on a Monday morning and be like, I'm going to go buy a truck today. No, we need to plan for that. So, trucks and machinery and equipment and all those things, they're very expensive. And if you're going to finance it, there's a lot of things you need to consider, right? Even if you're leasing or even renting, whatever it is. So in hiring those people as well, hiring more staff is a huge expense and a huge undertaking, especially the onboarding process. And people don't think about some of those things, when they're reacting to their environment and saying, I need this now. It's like, no, we need to take a good look at what you're planning for in the future. So in the future, it can only be a 12-month period. We don't have to think 10 years down the road. I mean, it's great if you do, but let's focus on the next 12 months. What is your plan? Where do you want to be in December? Okay, how do we get there? And so then we build the plan backwards and we say, okay, by this date, we should be hitting this revenue target so that on this date, we can purchase that truck. You know, and it doesn't have to be 12 months down the road that you buy a truck, but we could say, you know, all right, 3 months from now, you want to buy a truck. That means right now you need to stop spending here, here, and here, and you need to ramp up revenue here, here, and here, because this is the insurance impact. This is the financial impact in terms of cash, you know, and whatever else it is in terms of maintenance and gas and everything else. So there's a lot of factors that come in other than just making that purchase to the truck and buying it from wherever you go.
So Donna, if people have more questions about bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, they can visit my website, checkandbalancesolutions.com. There are links on that website that go right to my Calendly, so you can book a free consultation with me directly from there. You also can go to the Contact Us page and fill out an inquiry form, and that goes to my lovely executive administrative assistant, who then will walk you through the process of booking time with me as well. So either way works. And then we are on social media all over the place. We are on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, Instagram. Don't have a Twitter, but we're on the other three.
Donna, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call into the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.